Hey y'all, we're going to continue with Academic Chemistry, Unit 1. We are in Topic 6, which is measurement, and we are on Part 4 of the math, which is multiplication and division. Please make sure that you have a calculator so you can do all the problems together. Alright, so first rule in any kind of math and chemistry is do math like normal. Just straight up what you've learned since the beginning of math, how to multiply and divide, just do it as you know it. The second rule is actually a little bit easier, I think, than the addition and subtraction rule. So what you're going to do is you're going to count how many sig figs each measurement has that you used within the problem. The least total sig figs in a measurement is going to be how many sig figs your answer is going to have. And be mindful of your units. If you are dividing, then if you have the same units, top and bottom, they cancel. If you're multiplying and you have two different units, they both get in the answer. If you're multiplying, it's the same units, then that unit becomes square. Okay, so you want to be really mindful of that. So let's do our first problem. I've got 3.6 meters times 0.005 meters times 8.13 meters. So the first step is just to do math like you normally would. So I want you to type these into your calculator and see if you get the same answer as me. So go ahead and start typing. Did you get 0.14634? And notice I put meters cubed, or to the third power, because I'm literally multiplying meters times meters times meters. So kind of like in math, when you have x times x times x, it would become x to the third. Well, this is meters to the third. So now for the tricky part, but I swear it's not that hard. So we analyze each of these measurements to say how many sig figs does each have. Both are significant, so it's got 2 sig figs. This only has a 5, so it's got 1 total sig fig, and all of these are significant, so it has 3 sig figs. You definitely want to write on top a little note to yourself about how many sig figs each measurement has, and then you want to say, well, which of these has the least precision as far as sig figs, and it's our middle guy. So since our middle guy only has 1 sig fig, then I only get to keep 1 sig fig in my answer. So that first sig fig is my 1 here. Ironic that it was a 1 that wasn't planned. Which means I need to look after it to round. The 4 does not bump it up. So this becomes 0.1 meters cubed. Let's do another. I've got 48.05 grams divided by 50.8 milliliters. So the first step is just to do the math like normal math. 48.05 divided by 50.8. So go ahead and type this into your calculator and see if you get 0.945866614. Notice the unit is grams per milliliter, so this dash means per or divided by. It's because I had grams on top of my fraction, milliliters on bottom of my fraction. Remember, division always makes a fraction. So now let's analyze how many sig figs. This has all 4. This has all 3 of them are significant, which is less, 3. So I only get to keep 3 sig figs. So 1, 2, 3, all of these are what I get to keep. The 8 after bumps it up, so this becomes 0.946 grams per milliliter. Let's make it a little bit harder and do some scientific notation. So when we're doing scientific notation, you do the multiplication or division with the coefficients. If multiplication, you're going to add exponents. If division, you're going to subtract your exponents. Put in proper scientific notation at the end if it changes it at all, and keep the least number of sig figs in the coefficient as the coefficient with the least sig figs. Let's walk through this. So I've got 3.7 times 10 to the 7th grams divided by 6.004 times 10 to the negative 5th milliliters. So I do a little rearranging here. I've got 3.7 and 6.004. I'm going to put those together. And then I have my exponent side, so 10 to the negative 7th. And then since I'm dividing, I'm technically subtracting my second exponent. I just do this math as shown. So this is going to give us 0.61625583. If I have negative 7 minus negative 5, then this is like adding 5. So negative 7 plus 5. So that's 10 to the negative 2. Grams per milliliter. Now we're going to put this in proper scientific notation. This beginning part is the same thing as 6.16255 times 83 times 10 to the negative 1. I still have my 10 to the negative 2 here. And then now that I'm multiplying these, I can add up my exponents. So let's move that. So 6.162553 times 10 to the negative, I got to add up my exponents here. 6.162553 times 10 to the negative third. Okay, now I look at total sig figs. In my first one, I've got 2 sig figs. In my second one, I have 4. The least is going to be my 2, so I only get to keep 2 sig figs, so 6 and the 1. I look after, the 6 would bump it up, so this becomes 6.2 times 10 to the negative third grams per milliliter. It's a lot of work. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, is there an easier way to do it? And there is. You could use a calculator. Make sure you have a at least scientific calculator. You can do this on a graphing calculator or a scientific. You cannot do it on a regular calculator. Do not do this on your cell phone. If you try and do this on your cell phone, 9 times out of 10, you're going to type it in wrong because it's just kind of a cluster of where they put the numbers and how it shows up on the screen. So do not do these on a calculator at all. If you're going to do this on a calculator, you want to write it out like this and do all the steps because you're more likely to get it right by doing all the steps than if you put it in your calculator on your phone. So what you need to know is there's this button, a big E, big E. Now, these are the calculators I use in class. It's above this x to the negative 1. So you actually press second and then x to the negative 1 to get to it. And what it means is times 10 to the power of. So it replaces that times 10 whole thing. So you never type a 10 when you type the E. So if I were to do that same problem from the beginning, so I see this, here's how I would type it in my calculator. 3.7 EE negative 7. Notice I don't have any 10s. I don't have any multiplication signs. This whole times 10 to the is replaced by the E. So I just have my coefficient E and then my exponent. Then I press divide. 6.004 E negative 5. No 10, no times, just the EE, then the exponent. When I type that into the calculator, I get this. Now, if you don't see it in scientific notation, you can change it to scientific notation by pressing second, degree, and then selecting psi. If you press second, degree, and flow, it'll be just like your normal numbers, but you can actually have your calculator give it to you in scientific notation. From here, you just analyze on your own. Your calculator will not do the sig figs for you, so still 2 sig figs, 4 sig figs, I still need to keep 2. I'm still going to get the exact same answer as I got before. All right, so it's your turn. Here are 2 practice problems. So I want you to freeze your video, solve these, see how you do, and then when you come back, I'll have the answers. You can check your work. So freeze now. Press pause. All right, here are your answers to your practice problems. If you have any questions, please let me know, either in class or online, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, good luck with this lesson. I'll see you in the next set of notes.